much, and good evening to all of you. I have to admit I brought a speech, but now that I see you, I'm not so sure if it's the right speech that I've prepared, because from my background as a journalist reporting on domestic politics or on federal politics in Germany right now, my look at this world might be somewhat gloomy. And what I see amongst you is the exact opposite. So many people, there's so much energy in this room. It's this overwhelmingly international get-together of bright heads. So I feel a little guilty that maybe I'll tear your thoughts down a little for some minutes, but well, I hope in the end we can celebrate together and well, look at what's ahead of us. I would like to start with some personal thoughts, because it's been a long time that I haven't been to Erfurt for real, and when I walked the streets coming from the main station going to the hotel, I really remembered what it all felt like when I was here, and it was some kind of chaotic days when the Willy Brandt School took form, and when everybody was so enthusiastic to build it, and I feel so touched to see how much it has developed, how good it's going on, and well, what has become of it. And I have to personally say, being in Erfurt at that time, you will have to travel back with me some 20 years and more. At that time, it really changed my life. I just came here because of love. I followed the man I loved, and then I tried to find some work, and then I met the brilliant people. Of course, I had met Dietmar Herz before, but I had met the brilliant people that built this school, and I met some brilliant people in German television. And I wouldn't be what I am today if it wasn't for those people and if it wasn't for this place. This town seems small from the outside, and I don't know where you come from, but maybe when you arrived here you thought like, oh, this is more like a village than a big city, but it has so much to give you, and it allows you to concentrate on people and on studies, and I think this is a brilliant thing. So this is a very special feeling for me being here with you tonight, and I thank you for the invitation. I would like to shortly add to what you said about my job. I report political news for a living. My colleagues and I cover current politics on a daily basis, and we regularly challenge German lawmakers and decision makers in our weekly magazine on Sundays. And this magazine is dedicated to a critical perspective on federal politics, so not all the guests that come to me leave as friends, I'm afraid. So for the time being, I have to say that I probably occupy one of Germany's most visible and influential positions in TV journalism, and it frequently slips my mind because it's just work, but I have to remind myself that it is like that, because 20 years ago, when I joined some programs here, it was totally different. There was one seat left empty because a very good friend of mine wanted to join us tonight, and he remembers this time very well when I would have never stood here and talked to you, because at that time I literally froze each time I had to talk in public about something which I thought in my head wasn't ready, and he literally had to shove me to the stage and to convince me that you don't have to be 100% ready for something to try it and to go for it. And the things that I learned from him, the things that I learned from Dietmar Herz, from late Dietmar Herz, one of the founders of this school, really enabled me to do what I do today, which is regularly trying to give insight about German politics to something between 2 million, 2.5 million to 4 million. This is each time we fall under 3 million, we're like, oh shoot, it didn't work out. So, and no one has to push me nowadays. I think this is an accomplishment I largely attribute to the spirit that I came to know here at this school and through the people I met here. And this is a spirit which I believe is still alive and which you can profit from when you join the program. Some of you, as I learned today, are already in their second year, right? Some of you are just about to start, but I think it will give you a great time and lots of opportunities to learn. It's a spirit of empowerment, I think, and maybe I don't have to encourage you to embrace it because you already did. You already took the decision to come here. You already left your comfort zone, and you were not afraid to go out into the world and try to make a difference. And I imagine that this is what you came here to do, to get the tools to make a difference, to have an imprint on politics in your home countries, but also in the world. And I can assure you that by taking this decision, you already made the most important step to ensure that no matter how things will turn out for you in the end, that you will leave this place a different person than you were when you came here. And so there's some good news in that, because you can't fail. You already have won by coming here. There's no way of it. You said it will be hard work and some things will be a struggle, of course. But you can only leave here intellectually richer and with more perspective and more insights than you brought to this place when you came here. Still, of course, there's a lot of work ahead of you. You decided to leave your personal footprint on politics and society at a very special time in history, facing an alarming number of simultaneous crises, climate catastrophe, the pandemic and its consequences, the changes in world order, which probably make us in Europe feel more insecure than some of you coming from other places in the world. And each of these tasks are enough to occupy you for a lifetime or more. It's of course also a moment of chances. Green transformation is something that we discuss. All the new technologies that are at our hand that we could use, but we still have to decide to embrace. It's a turning point in history, and you are in the midst of it. And you will be crucial to the outcome, to the question of the direction that we will go to when we have passed this turning point. Altogether, I think that we now have to muster the courage to let go of yesterday's technologies and solutions, to create a level playing field in international relations, building partnerships that don't recreate inequality and dependence, and to find out how and what we can learn from each other. This seems to be very theoretically, but here in Erfurt, amongst students from all over the world, you can start making it a reality. You can trust in the collaborative learning that you get the chance to experience here. Appreciate the experience each one of you brings to the table and use the networks you're building. Because if there's something that we should have learned from the pandemic and the threat of the irreversible global warming, or maybe irreversible global warming, we are in this together. And if we do not succeed together, we don't succeed at all. So get together, stick together, and don't lose the networks that you build here once you leave. I can tell you from experience, this happens very fast because everyone goes to their jobs and is very occupied. But if you don't lose the ties that you can find here, it will be tremendously helpful. Allow me one last thought in this bigger context. Epoch-making changes of this magnitude never leave societies untouched. They do challenge the way we live and the way we organize our coexistence. And in democracies, they threaten the very fabric of society. They rock the architecture of our individual lives and shake the pillars of our societal coexistence. I myself would never have imagined that in my lifetime in Germany, in the middle of the European Union, blessed with stability, security, and relative wealth, notwithstanding a myriad of things that could still be better, but that under these circumstances we would seriously have to worry about the chances of survival of democracy itself. This is, of course, one of the gloomy insights or gloomy thoughts that occupy my thoughts each day, because I follow the current debates so closely, and it's really unbelievable that we have a strong movement in Germany that doubts the value of democracy and that tends to embrace ideas like they are represented by, for instance, Vladimir Putin. And what that leads to, we all have to watch each day right now. So following this debate so closely, I came to the conclusion that the real challenge of today is, and this will be a challenge for each of you, will we, with all the knowledge that we possess, with all the technologies that we have at hand, with all the refined political and diplomatic skills that we have, will we be able to live through this major turning point in history in the spirit of peace and cooperation? Will this be the one time in history where we can solve our problems without violence? I mean, we have a lot of violence going on in the world, but let's hope it doesn't get worse. And my dream would be that we take the challenges, the lessons we learned from history, and this time we deal with problems in a better way. Will we be successful in doing so, or will we fall back into patterns that are driven by fear and pave the way towards hatred and division? Because I think that is the other way it could turn out. And it sometimes really makes me afraid, but when I look into your eyes and into your faces, and when I follow your discussions, it gives me hope that this time we will be wiser. It will be a colossal change to handle the current crisis without sacrificing democracy, human rights, and individual freedom. It might sound like a Western perspective, I know, but this is my personal deep belief that there is no way of having long-term peace, stability, health, and prosperity without unequivocal respect for human rights. I used to work for Amnesty International during my time at university, and this is something which I carry with me. I'm really convinced that this is one of the major pillars of human coexistence, and if you want to discuss this with me later on, I'd be happy to get into discussion. So, in 1998, I took part in a program which is called the NMUN, National Model United Nations. I don't know how many of you know this. And we, on the first day of this program in New York, we were greeted with the words, "Welcome, future leaders of the world." And I was thinking like, oh, come on. Right. It just seemed too much. But looking back, it wasn't so wrong, because when you start getting involved in politics, be it actively as a politician or as an analyst or as a journalist, you make an impact, and you will leave your footprint. And so I will finish this little speech with a call to action. Here's a tiny task for you. get your studies going, profit from the knowledge, the experience and the multiple perspectives you all bring to the table, and then go and save the world, please. We didn't do a very good job at that, and we're trying to help, but the next step is up to you. It sounds presumptuous, but believe me, it's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to work on, and I wish you all the best for your studies and success for your time and effort and for your future. Thank you very much.